Hey friends, and welcome back to another episode of Academically Dope on Fridays, where I take the questions of graduate students that they may pose to me and may want me to do a video about or address. And today's comment or question came from one of my IGTV viewers, and he said that he was struggling with retaining knowledge of what he was reading. And I think that that was such an amazing comment or question, and he asked for, strategy or whatever the case may be. And so I really empathized with that because I used to have some problems retaining knowledge. Or, sometimes when we're reading high level jargon or things that are not really interesting that we just have to read, it's hard to retain the knowledge because we're just uninterested. And so I'm about to share some strategies that I share with my English students on how to retain knowledge or engage with the text. All right, so it's going to be just some basic knowledge, and I hope that this application can help you in doing this. And so the strategy that I'm going to propose is active reading, right? So sometimes when we read, we become very passive in reading. We just read. And have you ever read something and just was like, I don't even know what the heck I've just read? Like, what was my brain? I know for me, sometimes I would get like pages into a book and I'm like, dang, I wasn't even paying attention. Like my eyes were glossing over the words, but I don't even know what their words are saying. So I got to go back. I've already wasted time. So I know that when I'm reading something, I need to be alert and aware. And so I try to read earlier in the day as opposed to later when my brain is like, do. All right. If you don't know, that little message was the that little sound was the Pac-Man sound when it gets caught by one of those little monsters if you've ever played Pac-Man. Nevertheless, let's get back to the lesson. So I'm going to propose that you actively read, and this is a strategy to engage with the text. One of the things that I do is I underline or I highlight in the books. I wish I had a book. I'm looking at my bookshelf right now, and I really don't have one in front of me. But one thing that I do is I write in the margins of my books, no matter what, who, what, when, where, why. It's actually a book right here. And so this is not a lot of writing, but you can see that if I find something interesting, I'm generally going to underline or write in it. Or, what was actually also in here was some notes from whatever I was thinking about at that time. And so that's a good strategy. So I write and I highlight in the books because that is like something that a certain line may have caught my interest or piqued my interest. So I like to engage with it by highlighting or underlining it. Also, I write in my books, like I said before. So I might not write, something profound. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, I disagree. What are you talking about? So sometimes I have like arguments with the words on the page. Don't think it's weird because it's not, but this is me engaging in the level that the work requires. A lot of books require that you actually do mental, emotional work. And so in me writing, like, I disagree. Why did you say that? That was wrong. That's me engaging and remembering high level facts or high facts that I feel that may be important. Another thing that I do is I read the abstract. So if you're reading a scholarly article that is just boring, if I could just be frank, it's important to read the abstracts before you try to read the whole 30-page articles. Sometimes academics can be full of it and they want to write in the highest level or whatever they may try to do, but it can be off-putting sometimes to their viewers and their readers. So what I try to do when I write is write for the average person. I'm not trying to impress anybody. I really want more people that are not academics to read my work and so have access to it. So I try to write accessibly. However, everyone doesn't have that goal. So if you have to read an article, you're trying to figure out, should I really just spend my time reading? Read the abstracts. Generally, the abstracts tell you what the article is going to be about. If it's a well-written abstract, it will save you time to read the abstract as opposed to trying to read the entire article and say like, oh, I really just didn't even need this thing, right? So I encourage you to read the abstracts. Another thing that I encourage you to do is learn how to gut a text or a book, whatever you're reading. By gutting a text or a book, I mean that you're gonna, if there's an introduction, read the introduction. 9 times out of 10, the introduction will tell you the premise, what they're going to be arguing, and the chapter layout of the book, right? Read the introduction because it will let you know the author's argument. Sometimes you don't even have to read the entire work because you've read the introduction. If you do need to go ahead and read something else, you know where to find it because 9 times out of 10 it was told to you in the introduction, okay? If you're reading a book that doesn't have like a very thought out introduction, then you need to learn how to gut the text. This is a technique that I learned in my master's program when I thought that everyone was reading all the books and they weren't. And I was like, how are y'all getting through these books? And they're like, oh, we're gutting the book. And I'm like, what does that even mean? Gutting a text means that you're going to read enough in the front, you're going to read some into the middle, and then you're going to definitely read the conclusion. You cannot read everything in graduate school. And I don't think people realize that you're not really expected to. I mean, you're encouraged to, but there's no way humanly possible that you can read everything with all the other demands on your life. And so you have to learn how to gut these texts, get the meat of what is happening, and move forward from that. All right? The last thing I have right now is to write summaries after every few paragraphs. This is something that I used to have my writing students do. When you write a summary of a text, it's a brief restatement in your own words. You cannot possibly remember everything, every little detail in a text. Generally, you're going to remember what's important to you. And so when you're writing summaries of what you're reading, you're actually jogging your memory over a short amount of time as opposed to trying to write it at the end. It's brief, 5 sentences. So if you read 5 pages, you're going to have to get to the nitty-gritty and the heart of the matter. It's going to be easy for you to write that summary if you've already been highlighting and writing in the margins of the text, okay? So let's just go back over what I just told you. You need to learn how to actively read. This means engaging with the text through highlighting or underlining, through writing in the margins, comments, concerns, reading abstracts if you're reading scholarly pieces, or even if you're reading books. Read the introduction, learning how to gut the text, introduction, couple chapters, middle, definitely the conclusion, and summarizing after every few couple paragraphs. So to my viewer, I hope that helped you. If it didn't and you need me to clarify, just go ahead and message me. If you have any questions after watching this video and you want me to address some concerns that you may have in graduate school, feel free to DM me on Instagram if you're watching via IGTV, or you can comment under the video section on YouTube if you're watching, or just find a way to contact me and I will be sure to help you. This is for you, not for me. This is for you. So if you feel that you need access to a mentor, anybody who is invested in your life, go ahead and follow me on any social media platform, Brianna Whiteside, and comment and engage. I'm here for you, and I hope that encourages you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.